Okay.
Thank you very much, and I certainly want to welcome all our viewers to our meeting tonight. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful evening in Conception Bay South. Somebody told me last night it was one of the best sunsets they'd ever seen. How red it was. Uh, I didn't see it, unfortunately. So I guess, first of all, we'll call the meeting to order for May 18, 2021. First of all, the adoption of agendas and minutes. Adoption of the meeting agenda for May 18, 2021. Moved by Councillor Bent, seconded by Councillor Butler. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next, adoption of the meeting minutes of May the 4th, 2021. Moved by Deputy Mayor Murphy, seconded by Councillor Uden. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Business arising from previous minutes. There being none. Visitors, presentations, and petitions this evening, I should say. Proclamation, National Public Works Week. Okay. National Public Works Week. Here we go. National Public Works Week, May the 16th to the 22nd, 2020. Stronger Together, provincial proclamation. I'm sure that's supposed to say 2021. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. And whereas these infrastructure facilities, excuse me, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees from provincial and municipal governments and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Canada to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest in understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities, whereas the year 2021 marks the 61st annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association. Be it now resolved, I, Terry French, Mayor of Conception Bay South, do hereby designate the week of May the 16th to the 22nd, 2021 as National Public Works Week. I urge all our people to join with representatives of the Canadian Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Conception Bay South to be affixed, done at the town of Conception Bay South, this 18th day of May, 2021. That's where I will sign it. So yes, a big shout out to National Public Works Week, especially to our very own here in our town, who does all kinds of things. And I'm not going to get into the lengthy list of the things they carry out for the citizens here. And I think they should be appreciated more than they actually are, because far too often I read the negativity about our public works people. And let me tell you, where would we be as a town without them? So thank you very much to our very own public servants here in our community. Okay, next on the agenda, new business. Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Just like to speak a little bit about mental health. And of course, we all know that mental health is of the utmost importance, and it is just as important here in our community. And I just want to touch base on something that the Conception Bay South Fire Department is about to launch. They're launching a state-of-the-art mental health program aimed specifically at firefighter mental health awareness. The education program, called Resilient Minds, will be introduced in the upcoming weeks. The Conception Bay South Fire Department in partnership with the Canadian Mental Health Association, will be the first fire department in Newfoundland and Labrador to provide this training to its members. Resilient Minds is an evidence-informed, peer-to-peer skill building program designed by and for career and volunteer firefighters across Canada to develop strategies to mitigate and better manage occupational stress and enhance personal resilience, resulting in informed and healthier teams. Innovative and evidence-informed, basically, Resilient Minds is a skills and resilience development training course designed by and for firefighters, using the latest literature on resilience, stress, and stress-related injuries. Firefighters train firefighters. Using a peer-to-peer model of instruction, the Resilient Minds curriculum is taught by firefighters to firefighters. Resilient Minds is the only training program designed to train both career and volunteer firefighters. It takes into consideration the differences in experience and resources available to the two groups. This program will increase the ability to recognize the effects of psychological stress, trauma in self and peers, communicate with peers who may be struggling, respond promptly, safely, and appropriately to distressed citizens, and apply personal strategies for managing stress, mitigating trauma, and boosting resilience. So, Your Worship, again, a prime example of our fire department being proactive when it comes to mental health, healthiness, and of course, looking out for the firefighters and first responders of Conception Bay South. As we all know, mental health is a big concern, especially with people like firefighters, first responders, police, paramedics. I'd like to congratulate Chief Heffernan and his team for taking this initiative on, and it's I'm sure it will be a worthwhile program. And finally, Your Worship, I'd just like to mention for the benefit of our residents that tonight will be our last bi-monthly meeting. Next month, on June the 15th, we will begin our summer schedule, which means we will have our meetings once a month. However, the business doesn't slow down. We will have many meetings on the side and bring forward things that would normally come up at our monthly meetings. So just as a note to residents that we'll be starting our monthly summer schedule beginning next month. So that's it for me, Your Worship, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Murphy. Councillor Uden.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Certainly congratulations to I guess the fire department. They've certainly been leaders in mental health with the chief with Wounded Warriors, and now this new program, which is great to see. I would like to raise. I know we're dealing with a quarry thing, but I did attend the Northeast Avalon Joint Town Councils, and I raised the issue of quarries on the suggestion of a resident that we kind of look at where on the Northeast Avalon, we would accept applications and maybe be a bit proactive in working with some other municipalities. So I raised it there, but I'm sure there's going to be further follow-up conversations with City of St. John's and some of the surrounding municipalities. Lastly, Your Worship, I know you made a big announcement on last weekend in the paper about not run again, and I'd certainly like to. I believe the title in the shoreline was "One and Done." I think it should be one done, and it's been fun. It's certainly not easy corralling, I guess, councillors like ourselves, and you've done a great job of it over the last 4 years. And I know the last year and a bit has been COVID related, and we certainly had our challenges, and you steered the ship through that. But we did have 2 Pinty's Grand Slam event pieces. I think there's never been more sidewalk in the school zones that lasted put down over the last 4 years, and I think that's made a major major improvement in safety and pedestrian safety around school zones. The new library, the new park are both on the verge of beginning construction or further construction this year. And I guess lastly, we've done that while reducing our budget or your budget and the town's budget each and every year. And I think that's an accomplishment in itself, because we certainly had to juggle, and that's a testament to your work over the last 4 years. So I'll leave it at that and just say it's been great. And we got a few months left, but congratulations, and enjoy the retirement from political life.
Thank you, Councillor Uden. Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Worship. Just a couple of comments here this evening. I'd like to give a shout out today to a local business here in the town who celebrated their 50-year anniversary. Foxtrot Automotive, of course, has been a staple in their town for many years, and I actually know Daryl, who actually runs the building there now. Of course, his dad was the original guy who got it off the ground. So, they've been a fixture in this town for the past 50 years, providing professional service in the car repair business. So, of course, kudos to them for continuing to do the work here for the residents of Concession Bay South. As well, I'd like, as Chair of Public Works, I'd like to give a special shout out, like you just said before, to all of our public works staff. It's crazy the amount of work that they do. Like a lot of people, there's just some things: snow clearing, ice control, garbage collection, our water and sewer service division, the clerical staff who work behind the doors, doing up all the paperwork and that kind of stuff. It's a monumental task. It's probably our biggest budget item in the town. So of course they deserve a lot of credit for all the work to do. So Jennifer, if you would certainly pass along our congratulations to all of our public works staff for doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, just want to ditto Councillor Uden, Councillor Tilley on Public Works Week, and certainly your announcement that you're moving on. Councillor Uden went through a whole bunch of things that your leadership helped us move forward, and I just want to thank you for that leadership. And I will comment, it must be interesting to know 4 weeks in advance that you're not, 4 months in advance that you're not running in an election in September.
Yes, for sure it is.
You may be able to say some things that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully, that's the plan, Councillor Hillier. We'll see how it goes. I got to behave myself. As you reminded me earlier, take the high road. So I'm going to continue on the high road. So thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Councillor Bent.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll echo some of the comments that Councillor Uden provided, but I'm going to be cautious and say thank you for your help and support, and knowing that you still do have 4 months left, I'm going to hold back some of the words I have to say until near the end. I don't want your head to get too big, and then you think that you don't have to work with me anymore. So, but I will say thank you at this time, and it must be a good feeling to know 4 months out, like Councillor Hillier said. I just want to also echo the comments about our public works staff. I want to say thank you to them. I see them working daily throughout our town, whether it's roads or facilities, whatever it is. Some of them I know fairly well, and they do an outstanding job, and they're always at the ready. And when you're calling that after hours number for something that you need help with, it's our public works staff that are usually the ones that are on the ready to get out there and help out in whatever it may be. So hats off and thank you to our public works staff. On another note, Your Worship, I just want to say, as many of you know, the SOAR Spirit of Alex and Riley fundraiser for the CBS Paradise Food Bank took place between May 2nd, and May 9th. Again, this year, due to COVID, it was online. I can confirm that the fundraiser has bolstered the food bank with $10,305 to help purchase desperately needed items to help the more than 300 families that depend on the food bank every month. Hats off again to Louise and Bernie Mercer the 8th year in a row for this event, putting the work into such a worthwhile community support event. And thank you to all those that came out and donated. Fantastic effort again this year. I would note that the total is down a bit from last year, but the world's a different place a year ago with online events. They were basically the only thing that we could do at that time. And this year, of course, there are less restrictions. So having said that, with this amazing contribution this year, we're now looking forward to moving back to the traditional food bank fundraiser next year, where tens of thousands of pounds of food are donated in the memory of Alex and Riley Mercer as part of their birthday celebrations. And of course, you all know that we lost those two children far too soon. But in their memory, by the selfless charity of their parents, Louise and Bernie, and all those who support this event, I know that Alex and Riley will live on in our hearts and our memories forever. So thank you to Louise and Bernie, and fantastic effort by the citizens of Conception Bay South Paradise, again, to support this food bank. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Ben. Councillor Bursey.
Yes, Your Worship, a couple items this evening. Your Worship, I would like to myself join you and the rest of the council in my gratitude to the Public Works Department as well, for the staff, for a job well done every day. Eddie gets up out of bed and goes to work, and as it keeps town running, so without them, I guess the town wouldn't be able to run as efficiently as it was. And I also like to thank the fire chief too, Your Worship, and the firefighters for their for the training program for the first in the province, for the fire department as well. And myself being on the front lines for over 32 years, it is badly needed to be sure to help our firefighters get through some bad situations that they may encounter. So kudos to Editor John and his team. And finally, Worship, I'd like to the town summer day camp registration will open up online to the residents of Conception Bay South this Thursday, May 20th at 6 p.m. It is recommended to create a full and online account in advance. This year, the town of Conception Bay South is offering 3 summer day camps for children from kindergarten to grade 6. All camp details can be found on the town's website this year. It will be reduced to summer day camps as a result of the COVID-19 guidelines. It will run, Your Worship, from June 28th to August 20th. To August 20th. Thanks, Your Worship. That's everything.
Thank you, Councillor Bursey. Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to echo the other councillors in saying thank you to you for your leadership, and I wish you all the best and whatever your future may hold. I do have a few other things to mention. First, I'd like to piggyback on Councillor Bent's comments about SOAR to say that the little free pantries are certainly doing their work, as we can see from a lot of the posts on social media. From the east end of the town to the west end of the town, pantries are being filled on a daily basis and are being used by people who need it. And I thank everybody who contributed to you in whatever way they did. I also wanted to say thank you to Holy Spirit High for being selected as one of the high schools for the first year of Technology Career Pathway Pilot Program, which was announced by the provincial government, the Minister of Education, Tom Osborne. It is a pilot project, and I think down the road there will be more schools involved. And the idea is they'll participate in the program with coursework starting in grade 10 with the current high school computer science courses, transitioning to post-secondary courses in Python programming grade 11 and 12. They'll also be able to avail of a $2,500 tuition voucher. You can find more of the details, of course, on the provincial government website under their media releases. And lastly, and most importantly to me, myself and Cheryl Councillor Davis, met this morning with the Seniors Advisory Committee, and I really thank them for all their input that they've provided to us and staff in our age-friendly survey. As I said, we met this morning and we went over the information that was compiled as a result of the survey. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to all the residents who took part in completing the survey, as your input is very highly valued and will help share the future of opportunities for seniors within the town. There will be a final report developed as a result of the survey, along with an action plan to assist the committee staff in actioning these items. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor Davis.
Yes, Your Worship, I just have one item. On May 14th, Deputy Mayor Murphy, Fire Chief Heffernan, and Enforcement Manager Jarvis joined with Rick Noseworthy of Avalon Trailways to deliver a virtual ATV safety session to over 600 students at Frank Roberts Junior High. School administration were very appreciative of the safety messaging as the Victoria weekend is just around the corner. Thanks to everyone, and thanks for keeping safety top of mind throughout our town. That's it for me, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. I'm not going to take up too much time tonight either. First of all, I want to mention motorized vehicles and motorized bikes, in particular two-wheel type bikes on our trailways. I've witnessed it myself now again recently, and I've had several calls from people. And sometimes we always blame the young people. This is kids doing this. Well, last week it wasn't kids at all. There were 4 grown-ups who were on dirt bikes on our trail bed down in the west end of the town, and that's just too bad. I mean, I guess as adults, we should try to set examples for our young people, and it's disheartening sometimes to hear that stuff. So please stay off the trailway, including all motorized vehicles, even these ones with like I said before, on the bikes with the high CCs. There's really no need. The walking track was used by over almost 100,000 people in the 4 months of winter. So let's just give you some idea how many people are using that for all the right reasons. So, to the people that use it the appropriate way, have some respect for them and let them enjoy their walk or bike ride, walking their pets and their kids with strollers and so on. So please be aware, and please now with the nice weather coming, please keep that top of mind. And yes, I wasn't going to get into this at all tonight, but it came up. And I certainly want to thank council. I thanked 3 groups in particular last week in the article. I'm not sure it was highlighted as much as I would have liked to, but that's unfortunate. But it's just the way things roll in an interview, and the paper is only so big. So I want to thank the Shoreline for being as good as they've been to me over the years. And I was always able to get a hold of someone and have my 2 cents worth on a topic when they didn't include me. They were more than obliging to assist. So I want to thank them. But the main groups that I thank was, first of all, I guess, is this council. So, as people mentioned about some of the projects we did, as the people who sit around the council table knows, as the mayor of the town, in our town, I guess it's fair to say you're the main spokesman for the town, and you do chair the meetings. But nothing is achieved without all hands with their hands on the oar. So, this is not all driven by Terry French. I can assure you, this is decisions of council, and everybody has to be part of that decision. Often we disagree, but we're all disagreeing. And I can honestly say, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, as much as sometimes we seem to disagree, I know there's never been disagreement for the wrong reasons. It's always been at the best interest of our town. And for that, I'm very appreciative, and I want to thank you. I also want to thank the staff. We got into the municipal piece there tonight with a proclamation, but certainly the staff and, the senior management here who stepped up every time I've made contact with them to do what they could. And again, because of rules and regulations, there's lots of times they push back with me and with council and some things that we wanted to do. But again, they're doing it for the right reasons. They're professionals in their field, and we have to respect that. And I certainly do. As many days as I may have left with a sour look on my face and as crooked as I might have been, again, the senior staff were doing things for the right reasons, and I appreciate that and want to thank them. And of course, your family. How could I leave out my family? Without them, of course, there's a lot of things we can't do. And so I thank them for sacrifice along the way. And I guess sometimes enjoying the ride, and again, putting up with my snarky looks sometimes when things went south. But again, thanks to my family. I really appreciate it. So, and moving right along. Next, we have recommendations of the Planning and Development Committee, Chair Councillor Rex Hilder.
Yes, Your Worship, good evening and a lovely evening. Your Worship, our first motion this evening comes forward from our Committee of the Whole meeting earlier this afternoon. And this is a motion regarding terms of reference for land use impact assessment report for a community park in Long Pond. And so be it so resolved that the terms of reference for a land use impact assessment report regarding the development of phase 2 of the community park at Bishops Road be approved and issued to the applicant. So moved.
Seconder. Council Deputy Mayor Murphy, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, this report has been triggered because it's located in a high flood risk area, and that's the focus of the terms of reference as we bring forward this evening. This report will evaluate any hazard risk that might exist in that area. It'll look at medium and long-term mitigation of any storm surge, sea level rise, erosion, or flooding. Of course, we're looking at climate change and so on down the road. And it will also give us a description and a plan for the overall grading and stormwater management of that area. So, Your Worship, we asked for commentary on this terms of reference over the last couple of weeks. And I want to thank all those people who took time to submit comments. Some were concerns, some were suggestions. Not all of them ended up in the terms of reference. However, there were a lot there that we have passed on to our senior staff, those people who are involved with planning this park, things such as noise, security, lighting, and privacy. So I just want to point out, I guess, that just because these didn't end up in terms of reference, as I said, terms of reference is triggered because of the flood hazards. Just because these didn't end up in terms of reference doesn't mean that they've gone unnoticed and certainly won't be considered as this project moves forward.
Great project, by the way. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 2, Your Worship, or actually these following are coming out of our May 11th, 2021 Planning and Development Committee meeting. Number 1, be it so resolved that approval be given to adopt the delegation of planning authority policy as presented.
Seconder.
So moved.
Second, Councillor Bursey, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. I think there's some people in town who feel that every application that comes in, council sees and council deals with and council makes a decision. And that's not true. For the most part, the ones that come through the planning department, the only ones that we see are those that come with issues attached and feel that council needs to have a look at it. Of course, then there are some people, some residents who feel that it's a free-for-all and our staff are handling all of the applications and doing all the decision making. Again, neither of those is correct. What we have a very strict policy in place about who signs off on what types of applications, and that's what we're bringing forward this evening. I'll just give you one example. There's a whole list here, but if we just take building permits, for instance. People who can sign off on building permits are Chief Administrative Officer, Director of Planning and Development, Manager of Planning and Development, and a Development Control Officer. So basically what we've done, most of the applications or all the applications that come through council, we have set down those people who are permitted to sign off on these. And the reason why we're bringing this forward tonight is that included in our previous policy was a position of town planner. Of course, we don't have a town planner now, so we're just bringing this forward this evening, taking the term town planner out and bringing our policy up to date.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 2, Your Worship, Middle Ridge proposed quarry. Be it so resolved that in consideration the town's discretionary authority at sections 10.7 and 10.27.5 of the town's development regulation, and that council is of the opinion that the proposed quarry at Middle Ridge would result in nuisances in the form of smells, emissions, vibrations, noise, dust, increased commercial and industrial traffic that will adversely affect the amenity of existing residential development within 1,000 meters, and the general vicinity of the proposed quarry. Application number COM-21-044 received on April 6, 2021, seeking approval of a quarry at Middle Ridge be refused. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Tilly. Discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, the trigger here for council is that 1,000 meter distance. And if we've got residents within that 1,000 meters who would be subject to the nuisances indicated in the motion, then it's commensurate on us to refuse this application. And in looking through it, we received large numbers of comments, and I know many of us had phone calls and emails and so on regarding them. But inside that 1,000 meter radius, we had 195 residences. So this is not the place that at this point in time we need to be putting a quarry, or anybody needs. We don't put in quarries. Anybody needs to be putting a quarry.
All those in favor?
Your Worship, I'd like to speak to that.
Sorry, Kirk, did you not lift your finger as well to speak? Okay, Dred, you first. Councillor Tilly first, then Councillor Uden. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. As Councillor Hilliard just made the recommendation, I'm going to be certainly supporting the recommendation as well. I've heard from countless people who live in the area, not only adjacent to the 1,000 meters, but as from the Foxford Bexus Road all the way up to Redbridge Road. They certainly had some concerns with what could possibly develop if we decided to approve this application. There's some pristine land in there for agriculture, for farming. You know, I've grown up, I was born and raised in Kelligers, and I know what it's like in there. So certainly something that I would want to see in our particular area. And as well too, you know, both the provincial government and the municipality have spent quite a lot of money fixing up the roads in the Concession Bay South and the Foxford Bexus Road, and to put this type of traffic back out on the out on our roads now was something that that the majority of residents have let us know. I mean, Councillor Hilliard alluded that there was 260 odd applications. I think that's or submissions for, and I don't think one of them was in favor. And so, of course, you know, of all my years on council, I think this is one of the probably the most highest generation of responses of any event that I've ever seen in the town. So, of course, I'll definitely be supporting the motion for refusal. Thank you.
Councillor Uden.
Yeah, quickly, Your Worship. Like, you know, I guess Conception Bay South and St. John, City of St. John's are intersect. So, you know, our residential areas are right along what, you know, some would consider a quarry belt and access to fine materials for construction. So we can't determine or prevent an application, but like I said earlier in the meeting, it's certainly worth a discussion with the City of St. John's, and it's certainly worth a discussion with the provincial government and other municipalities, because like it or not, you know, there's a need for these materials to build houses, to build roads, to what have you. And I think, you know, being proactive and identifying an area where that can happen, that you don't have the issues like in this proposal, then I think that would be I guess a step forward versus the city approving something in our, you know, our back garden and what have you. So I think it warrants a bigger discussion so that we could probably expedite and control where these developments happen. So I'll leave it there.
Councillor Bent.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I'll be supporting the recommendation to turn this quarry down. But I think it goes bigger than that. And there's other concerns, you know, with regards to the quarry issue. And like Councillor Uden pointed out, you know, but the great fear, of course, is that these guys can go a few hundred meters away and apply in the City of St. John's and get a quarry. And that's a big concern, you know. We come out here to, you know, drive out to Conception Bay South, and you look to the right and you see the bay and the you know, the beautiful view. There'd be nothing worse than having to drive out Peacekeeper's Way and look to the left and see the land tore up for pits all the way along. And my concern, of course, is that we're a hinterland for St. John's and other areas. And that makes us a prime target for this sort of application. And, I see Conception Bay South as becoming the recreational boating capital of this province. I see it as a great day trip destination for tourists who come to the St. John's metro region. But I don't see it as a quarry pit destination for anybody. And I know that we need the resources, but this is a big province. There's lots of places to get resources. And the other concern, of course, is there are headwaters for Conception Bay South are up in the back areas like this where they're looking to put quarries and so forth. There are regulations in place. I get that. But that those regulations, for protection of waters, leave it to people like us and those in positions of authority in the provincial government and others to regulate how it's going to affect people for noise and soil pollution and so forth like that. But it's a big concern if we're going to be promoting ourselves as a destination. We've got to protect ourselves, and I think there needs to be a serious discussion, like Councillor Uden pointed out, possibly a moratorium on these quarries until we get it sorted out. What's going to stop it from happening? The applications go through. If you go through the provincial government listing, there are a huge number of applications and quarries listed there, and they've got regulations to meet, of course. And strangely enough, every one of them has to do an environmental assessment, that is required by the provincial government. They seem to all go through that, but you don't hear of too many quarries being turned down, and that's a big concern as this thing goes on. So I think that maybe we should be looking at asking for a moratorium until we get some agreement amongst our neighbors and ourselves as to how this is going to work. Or maybe we need to look at something even bigger and trying to get the province to encapsulate our headwaters in our borders. And that may be something we need to look at. But I appreciate our ability tonight to be able to turn down a quarry for the reasons outlined by the committee. They're all just and good reasons. But that doesn't stop things from happening a few hundred meters away to the left of where they're proposing this. And of course, the effect could be exactly the same for our residents. So it's a big concern, Your Worship.
No, and just to clue it up, I don't know if there's anybody else wants anything to say, but yeah, I couldn't agree more than with the speakers. I mean, we've written now multiple letters, even to the city of St. John's, and it's in their boundary to the province. The most recent one that I think of that we couldn't turn down was the one at the end of Foxtrot Access Road. And, this is something that, and there was another one a while back, we wrote some strong language around some of the things that we've had a problem with. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we've got to do something significant in the quarry. And look, I'm not against quarries. Nothing further could be further from truth. I realize you do need aggregate, obviously, to do for construction and building roads. But, there's a time now that we get a hold of it here in Conception Bay South and our surrounding areas, because it's really getting out of hand. It's gone beyond what my wildest dreams a number of years ago. So.
Worship, just to clarify before we vote, there was some question about those people who got letters regarding this application and those who didn't. There were people like out Tilly's Road and on Redbridge Road, over on Foxtrot Access Road, were surprised that they didn't get letters. The people who got letters were the ones that were inside this 1,000-meter radius. And so they were all hand-delivered a letter. And of course, it was on our social media sites, and then word of mouth and so on. So obviously word got out, but we chose to stay inside that 1,000-meter radius. And we know that inside that 1,000-meter radius, we had 195. We delivered 195 letters to people living in that proximity of the quarry proposal.
Your Worship, just to highlight, just looking at our chat discussion, and I'd just like to note that Deputy Mayor Murphy declared a conflict and left the room prior to the discussion. And his son lives in the Middle Ridge area, and he declared that, and he left the room. And I don't know if we put him in the penalty box or what, but he didn't partake in the discussion, for the record.
No, he was moved out. I was going to announce the same thing, actually. Thank you, Councillor Uden. So without further ado, I guess we're ready for the vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 3, your worship, recommendation, be so resolved that in accordance with council's authority under section 3.12 of the town's development regulations, that application number 2021-078 received on April 8, 2021, seeking approval to vary the maximum lot coverage for an accessory building by up to 7% at 2459 Topsail Road be approved. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Bursey. Discussion?
Yes, your worship, going back to our delegation of authority policy earlier, this would have been one of the applications that nobody had permission to sign off on until council had an opportunity to have a look at it.
All those in favor?
All right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 4, be it so resolved that application number 21-F-040 received May 3rd, 2021 for a 2.4 meter high fence along the southern side boundary of the property at 318 Dunsill Road be approved in accordance with councilor's discretion at section 16 of the town's fence regulations. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Bursey. Discussion?
Yes, your worship, sometimes we get requests for a higher fence because neighbors can't get along, but in this case, both neighbors agreed to it, and it's they're asking for a higher fence. It has to deal with how the land grades and falls away on that side of the property.
Good when neighbors get along, hey?
Yeah.
Far too often we see is neighbor disputes that we try to drag in the middle of them. So this is a good one. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 5, Farmers Access Road, agricultural use discretionary. Be it so resolved that in accordance with council's discretionary authority provided by section 10.7 of the town's development regulations, application number COM-21-047 received April 14, 2021, and seeking approval for an agricultural operation, hay production for forage at Farmers Access Road be approved on condition that the claims of the conflicting property owners be provided to the Provincial Crown Lands Office. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Tilly. Discussion?
Your worship, we're indicating that we have no problem with the application. It's just some concerns there about land ownership, and we're asking that it be straightened out at Crown Lands.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And finally, your worship, a blanket statement. Be it so resolved that the decisions and recommendations made at the Planning and Development Committee meeting on May 11, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Deputy, Councillor Bent. Discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
That's
Thank
it
you.
from us, your worship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Hillier. Recommendations, the Engineering and Public Works Committee Chair, Councillor Gerard Tilly.
Thank you, Worship. The following is a presentation of our recommendations from our meeting held on May 11th. The first one deals with the 2021 Street Rehabilitation Program, approval to tender. Council is pleased to continue once again our street rehabilitation program for 2021. A list of streets will be updated on the town's website once confirmed following the tendering process. The program this year will comprise of approximately 12,000 square meters of street patching. And just for the benefit of residents as well, this is just a temporary fix until council gets the necessary funding to completely replace the road in certain areas. So be it so resolved that approval be given to tender the 2021 Street Rehabilitation Program. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And the second recommendation it's the 21-04 supply of asphalt for 2021-2022. Tender award be it so resolved that approval be given to award tender 21-04 supply of asphalt
2021, 2022 for the quota price of $98 per ton plus HST. Funds to be taken from the account so noted. So moved.
Seconder,
Second
Councillor
that.
Butler. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Your worship, number 3 is the 2021 traffic calming. Council is pleased to continue a traffic calming program as part of our 2021 budget. The location of new traffic calming devices will be updated on the town's website and consist of calming traffic and improving safety at crosswalks and on roads that see increased traffic near recreational spaces during our summer months. In addition to new infrastructure, we will again install temporary speed cushions on high vehicle traffic roads near recreation spaces, as we previously did in 2020. I'd also like to remind residents that they can visit the town's website to see previous street assessments completed, current traffic calming locations, and pending initiatives. So be it so resolved that approval is given to purchase raised rapid flashing beacons and temporary speed cushions at a cost of approximately $40,000. Funds are available in the budgeted account. So moved.
Seconder,
Second
Councillor
that.
Hillier. Discussion? Yeah, I'd just like to say, if I could, I mean, I can't tell you the volume of calls and number of people that stops me and talking about their own streets, mine included. And I mean, as much as I appreciate the calls, I travel the roads here in CBS, myself, Conception Bay South myself, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a pandemic. How the speed that we have, I think it's at times the single biggest issue we have in our town is the speed that people are driving on our streets. We got kids now that are getting out of school earlier because of the schedules that have changed at schools due to COVID restrictions and so on. And we have summer around the corner. There's more people out walking, riding bikes. I beg people to please slow down. We can't put speed bumps on every street, on every stretch of road there is. We're trying our best. Every year we've targeted money to buy speed bumps and other mechanisms to slow down. But speed bumps are not necessarily always the answer, but we're trying our best. But there's one thing we wouldn't have to worry about this budgetary item if everybody would just slow down and take their time on our by roads in particular. Many of them are narrow, small shoulders on the roads, and it's simply something that I guess as we developed, we never became a municipality till mid '74, I believe it was. So I mean, there was an awful lot of roads in this town prior to that, and so the shoulders are narrow and so on, and the list can go on. And we all know the roads, but even the roads that we've spent a lot of money on the last couple of years, people are still driving too fast on them as well. So please, I beg you to slow down, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And your worship, before I get into the blanket recommendation, I just want to give a reminder to residents to please visit the town's website and social media for the latest construction updates. Recent traffic disruption advisories have been issued for Lawrence Pond and Tillage Road South and Worsley Drive. And of course, further notices will be communicated in the coming days as the street paving program recommences. So be it so resolved that the recommendation decisions made at the Engineering and Public Works Committee meeting of May 11 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hillier, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, worship.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Next, we have recommendations, the Recreation and Leisure Services Committee. Chair, Councillor Junior Bursey.
Yes, your worship, only have one recommendation this evening, a blanket one. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Recreation and Leisure Service meeting of May 12, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Davis, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Bursey. Recommendations, the Financial and Admin Services Committee, Chair, Deputy Mayor Richard Murphy.
Thank you very much, your worship. I have a few resolutions to bring forward as a result of our privileged meeting held earlier this evening, May the 18th. The first one is concerning the multi-year capital works funding application. Be it so resolved that approval be given to make application under the 2020-2023 multi-year capital works program for the following projects. And I'm going to read them off because they're not in the public agenda. The first one is phase 48 water and sewer, estimated cost of $3 million, with a 90-10 cost share arrangement being $2,100,000 from provincial and $900,000 municipal. Steady Water Brook stormwater upgrades, $1 million, 50-50 cost sharing, $500 both provincial and $500,000 provincial and municipal. Route 60 manuals pedestrian traffic lights, $200,000 with a 50-50 cost share split. Phase 47 surface course, which is the Seal Cove Road area from a couple of years ago, it's $700,000 with a 50-50 cost split. And street paving and upgrades for $5,100,000 and a 50-50 cost share split of $2,550,000 each, for a total, Your Worship, of $10 million, provincial contribution of $5,600,000, and municipal contribution of $4,400,000. So move.
Seconder, Councillor Bursey. Discussion. All those in favor? Oops, sorry.
I'm sorry, Your Worship. I just want to make note that as was entered into the resolution, this is the 2020 to 2023 multi-year capital works, and of course, it's all subject to funding from the provincial government. But these are the applications that will be going forward. Thank you.
Councillor Ben, do you have something?
Yeah, no, and Your Worship, I'm hoping that the province will approve these applications. As they've noted, the funding will be available. But I think it's extremely important that as a town, we get back to water and sewer work, something that we haven't done now for, I think, since the last project up to 2017. And we did quite a bit of it at that time. But you know, that priority list that we have for water and sewer is something that people watch, and they know keenly where they are on the list. It's going to take a long, long time to get through it, but you're never going to get through it if you're not working on it. And it's really good news, I think, for residents that we're getting back working on it. $3 million, I believe or hope, could do the next 3 to 5 streets on that list, and that would be fantastic. And the other thing on the list, Your Worship, that I'm very pleased about is being able to get to that pedestrian cross there at Manuel's Bridge and actually get working on the upgrades and the light and so forth to make it safer for people to cross there, because that's getting more popular all the time. I think when we had our lights down there in December for the walk, we had over 15,000 passes because we have counters on that now. So you can see how much traffic is going on down there. It's an important upgrade for our town, and I'm very pleased at especially both those items. And of course, $5 million more on road work on top of the road work we've announced this year in the earlier tonight for the mill and fill. And then of course, the money that we're spending up on Anchorage Road and Minerals Road, badly needed. It's just fantastic work. I think we're going to see over the next 2 years or so to get these projects up and running and going for our residents. Fantastic. Thank you, Your Worship.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Next is coming from our privileged meeting is concerning the upcoming municipal election. And the first one is to deal with the mail-in ballot program. So the recommendation is, be it so resolved that approval be given to engage DataFix for the purpose of software to support voter services for the 2021 municipal election at an estimated cost of $82,000, and funds are available in capital out of revenue. So move.
Seconder, Councillor Butler. Discussion.
Your Worship, yeah, just to explain it a little bit, we need to enter into an agreement with DataFix to provide software that's necessary for the upcoming 2020 municipal election. This software will be on the town's website and will allow residents to verify if they are currently on the voter list and to determine in which ward they reside. Also, residents will request online to vote by mail. Datafix will prepare the voter packages, which will be sent out to those registered. So the town does not yet have a voters list from Elections NL. Therefore, we cannot determine the exact cost that will be charged by Datafix. Costs will also be determined on how many residents register to vote by mail. So, Your Worship, this estimate is based on 16,000 requests for vote by mail. We probably realize that it's not going to be that high, so we wanted to go to the maximum just in case we needed it. So that's the reason for the estimate and not an accurate figure. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, Your Worship, the next one is the appointment of an alternate returning officer. Be it so resolved that Liz Davis, Director of Finance, be appointed as alternate returning officer for the 2021 municipal election, which is being held on September 28, 2021. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Tilly. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next, Your Worship, is the nomination of candidates. Be it so resolved that, subject to directives of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, approval be given to hold nominations on August 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 30th, and 31st, 2021, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. at the Town Hall. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And finally, Your Worship, with respect to the elections, the advance poll. Be it so resolved that, subject to directives of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, approval be given to hold an advance poll at the Town Hall on Saturday, September the 18th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So moved.
Seconder,
Second that.
Councillor Bercy. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, Your Worship, now we can go into the regular agenda items. The first is the accounts payable check register. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $154,665.03. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Davis. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Next is the ratification of manual checks previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks previously released totaling $34,238.66. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Davis. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And next is the ratification of direct payments previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify direct payments previously released totaling $343,073.98. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Bercy. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
The next one on capital invoices, Your Worship, I will have to declare conflict of interest as family members are involved in the list there. So I ask to be taken out of the meeting for this resolution.
Okay,
Your Worship, I'll do this recommendation for the deputy. If he is removed from the meeting, yes.
yes.
Okay. So capital invoices, be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $671,762.96 as listed in the agenda, Your Worship. So moved.
Seconder,
I'll second that.
Councillor Percy, discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, earlier today, I noticed in social media, someone questioned them. People actually go through these agendas prior to the meeting. And at one point in time, someone was questioning phase 47 water and sewer remediation and how big a project must we be doing to have 47 phases to it. You mentioned earlier that our town goes back to the mid-70s, and if you do the math, 47 years takes us back to the mid-70s. So basically, phase 47 is the way we track our water and sewer projects. And this is 47 years we've been working on them. And as Deputy Mayor indicated earlier, we're getting ready to move on to phase 48 over the next couple of years.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
We can bring the deputy back.
Deputy Mayor Murphy, item number 5, sir, is all yours.
Okay, Your Worship, thank you very much. This one is on tax and other receivable adjustments. Be it so resolved that approval be given to adjust tax and other receivables accounts as noted. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Bent, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And the next one is an order for number 62 Ledrews Road. Be it so resolved that the order issued on May 7th, 2021 under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000 and the Municipalities Act 1999 and the Town of Conception Bay South Waste Disposal and Property Regulations and the Town of Conception Bay South Development Regulations, ordering the property owner to remove all unused dismantled vehicles and trailers, vehicle parts and miscellaneous debris, as well as the removal of all agricultural livestock from the property located at number 62 Ledrews Road, Conception Bay South, be confirmed. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Tilley, discussion.
Your Worship, I just want to inform residents, and the people especially living in the neighborhood of this property that, we're working as fast and as diligently as possible. But when you start issuing orders to get stuff done under regulations and court orders and the like, it takes some time, unfortunately, but that's just the world we're living in. But I'd like to, assure the people of that area that we are working as fast as we possibly can to get this mess cleaned up, because we know that it's been there for quite some time and it's been challenging, Your Worship. Thank you.
Your Worship, I'd like to echo Deputy Mayor's comments as well. I've been dealing with a couple of residents in that area. While we'd love to wave the magic wand and have the place cleaned up tomorrow, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So we have a process that we had to follow, and it's going to take a bit of time, but hopefully this will get everything straightened out in the very near future.
Yeah, and I just want to echo what you guys just said. I've had numerous calls too, but it's just so unfortunate when some people don't play by the rules. But there's steps that you have to take, and it can't be done overnight, unfortunately, because there's no doubt the complaints are real. So this is a step in the process, and hopefully this will be one of the final ones, and hopefully the mess will be cleaned up and we can move on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And finally, Your Worship, the recommendation from the Finance and Administrative Services Committee report. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Financial and Administrative Service Committee meeting of May 11th, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
That's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Murphy. Next, we have recommendations of economic development and tourism. Chair, Councillor Farrell Davis.
Thank you, Your Worship. Presentation of recommendations of meeting held May 11th, 2021. Green hydrogen pilot project. Recommendation. Be it so resolved that the town approve the provision of a letter confirming the support of a cash contribution of $10,000 of eligible costs to a maximum of $50,000 in order to meet the funding application requirements of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Green Municipal Fund for $500,000 toward the green hydrogen pilot project. So moved.
Seconder.
Mhm.
Councillor Bercy. Discussion.
Yes, Your Worship. The concept of green energy and attention to the exploration of hydrogen solutions has been getting a great amount of support and attention federally through the recently released Hydrogen Strategy for Canada in December 2020, and provincially through the recent release of the Premier's Economic Recovery Team Report and the Oil and Gas Industry Recovery Task Force Report, of which the town of Conception Bay South has been specifically noted in recommendation number 49. Forget that word. Recommendation number 49 states, the World Economic Forum has indicated that cities are often the leaders of the energy transition. In Newfoundland and Labrador, one of the proposals shared with the task force is a municipality to be the first consumer of hydrogen for fleet vehicles, Conception Bay South. Our municipalities should consider similar investments, unquote. Through our partnership with Growler Energy and the College of the North Atlantic, the project team have been working on a funding application for the Green Municipal Fund through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, requesting funding of $500,000 to acquire a hydrogen-fueled light-duty passenger vehicle and a street sweeper. One of the requirements of that funding opportunity is the commitment from the municipality to provide a cash contribution of 10%. We continue to be very supportive of this exciting and initiative project and proud to be part of the project team.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And just a blanket statement, Your Worship. Be it so resolved that recommendations and decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting May 11, 2021 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Bent. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Davis. Next, we have other committee reports.
Your Worship, I got something. It's not a committee report. I just want to advise council that I had the opportunity to participate in the virtual municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador conference or symposium that was held last weekend, and of course some great speakers there. And actually, one we approved tonight was that group that are going to do our mail-in balloting. They certainly have a reputation right across the country for the work that you do. And of course, also there was a lot of discussion as well with COVID and municipalities, how they're coping and how they're going to continue to cope in the very near future. And of course, there's also a bit of talk as well about the green report as well and how that's going to affect the municipal operating grants. So lots of discussion, lots of questions that came up. Of course, not all the answers were there, but it was great to meet our counterparts from right across the province. So it was a well-attended conference and a great bit of information sharing for sure.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Any further ado, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Tilley, second by Councillor Bent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So good night, folks. And I just want to say have a safe, long weekend, May 24th weekend coming up. God knows most of us have been doing them for a long, long time, for a lot of years. And please be safe. Don't want to hear tell of any boating accidents or bike accidents on the weekend. So have a good long weekend. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.